Money. Down on the bottom. The blue one over there. Blue. Over there, yeah.
Just recognize the base.
Okay. Today we're going to start Lamed Hey Aleph. Right above the wide lines. Sahu Gabra. Thank Hashem that they're able to learn Torah every day. Plus, we're learning which have the base of Migdash, learning the Nishmas, Golda, Bas, Binyamin, and remember the name?
Something then.
Let's see. Whoever needs a refuah shleima.
Son-in-law's father just passed away saying Shiva this week. So can we learn that? I just know that Moshe Chaim.
Okay, and whoever needs a refuah shleima. Okay. So it's like this. So who Gavra? There was a person, the Afkid Kipi Gabi Chavri, that he deposited for watching Kipi. Oh, show him this now. Kipi is some sort of necklace or rings, maybe nose rings. He gave it to his friend to watch. Amalei, he says to him, Habli Kipai. Says, give me back the rings. Thank you very much. Now, I'm back. Return them to me. Amalei, he says, I don't know where I put them. So they come to Rav Nachman. Is he responsible? Amalei, Rav Nachman says, I guess he's a Shem Mechinam. But he says, but that's negligent. If you don't know where you put them, that's not like an Aveda, other types of Aveda, something got lost. This is a negligent type of lost. Still slim. Go and pay for them. Well, so it's some jewelry he has to pay for. He didn't pay for it. Also, Rav Nachman Rav Nachman went and confiscated his palace, which means that he basically took his house away to pay for those. But then he found the jewels, and they were worth more. Sounds like it was like Erev Pesach. So this is where I put them. I was wondering.
Oh, yeah.
So Amar Rav Nachman says, Hadri Kipala Maraya Vahadna Padlamari. So we return everything back. The palace goes back to the fellow that was the Shomer. And the pearls or whatever it is, the jewels go back to the original owner. So it goes back. Amar Rav Nach, okay. So Amar Rava says, Have you sivna kamed Rav Nachman? I was there sitting in front of Rav Nachman, and we were actually studying Hamafkid. What grade is Hamafkid? Shalom? Is it 5th grade, 6th grade? 6th grade. So Rava was studying by Rav Nachman. Rava studied probably when he was younger by Rabba. But anyway, he's by Rav Nachman and they're studying Hamafkid. And they said, tells him like this. In the Mishnah and Hamafkid, it says that if someone pays and he doesn't want to swear, so he acquires the kefil. He acquires the income that's going to come from this item because he paid for it. Says if that's the case, then the same thing should be here. What happened is he paid for these kippei, for these this jewelry with his house. Now the jewelry got worth more. So it gets worth more, so he should have acquired the increase. So because he paid for it, he acquires the increase. And why are we saying that? We have to return the pearls to the, and this, he should get the extra money. He paid for it. So
it follows the same thing as they were stolen, that he gives back the value of the ones that were stolen.
What we're saying here is he gave the pearls back. We're saying, why does he have to give the pearls back? he should be able to keep the pearls, just like the guy keeps the cow after he pays for it. And what does it mean he keeps the cow? He gets the kefil, he gets the double portion. So here also you should keep the jewelry plus the increase, just like he paid for it. It's like a purchase. So he asked this to Reb Nachman. He didn't explain the question. They were learning Hamafkid. Reb Nachman understood. But Reb Nachman didn't respond to me, the Reb is saying. Shaper Avid Le'ahadli, it's good he didn't respond to me. My time, what's the reason? It's totally different. It's not a purchase, really. What's happening is the person is willing to give the kefil if he's not going to be bothered to have to go to court. But over here, he actually went to court. They had to go to court, so you lose the whole svar, the whole logic of Shilam V'Leratz L'Shava. If he pays, he doesn't want to swear. He gets the kefil. Why does he get the kefil? Because of the convenience that you're giving to the owner.
But also over there, he went to Bestin. Shilim is in Bestin.
Yeah, but it means without a hassle. It doesn't have to be actually in Bestin. Shilim could be with outside of Bestin. If he wanted to swear, he would probably have to go to Bestin. But Shilim V'Leratz L'Shava was out of Bestin. There was no hassle. He says, I'm willing to pay.
He didn't pay willingly. Nachman was the one that
Exactly. Exactly. The fact that he didn't pay willingly means that it was not a case of Shilam V'Leratz L'Shava. It was not a case of our Mishnah. And that's why it does not go, he doesn't keep it when he finds them, and instead it gets returned.
Notice the difference that, for example, the other example, the other cases we had before, it was like double or triple because of that. It was like stolen. This case is just the item just let it wrong.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting question. We mentioned before, and I think people asked this because I had it in my head, that we mentioned before that we said that he's not going to want to give the shearings of wool and the offspring. And we were saying, like, as if he tells him that when it gets stolen, if it gets stolen, then the animal is given to you except for the shearings of wool and the offspring. He said, why? What made you say that? Like, why are you so sure that that's what a person would think? As well, income that comes from outside, so then he's willing to give up. But income that comes from the thing itself, that he's not willing to give up. So over here, this is not income that's coming from outside. It's not this is income that's coming because the price of pearls went up or something. It's an income from itself. How do you know that he was willing to give up? So the question, Rabbi's question, has a second question, besides for the fact that it's not a good question because he was taken to court. But even without that, this has another problem because it was chutz migizisev v'ladisa, and this should be the price itself should be similar to the offspring and the shearings of wool, which he does not give. I don't have any notes on the page at least that discuss that. Oh, very good. They asked the question. Taisus explains. Oh, so this is a Taisus. Where is this? Oh yeah, Taisus does say this. The yukra the kipi avishvacha the alma k'mekfela. It's not similar to Gizas of Ladas. Let's see how he writes it here. Only those proceeds that discernibly derived from the physical body of the deposit belong to the category of internally generated profits. An increase of the value of a deposit is caused by market conditions and this qualifies as externally generated profit, similar to the penalty of payment, Siram bond. That's interesting. Okay. It gets more interesting when you get deeper.
What is the Ramban?
Ramban.
What does Ramban say?
Probably elaborates on the difference between the
Internal and external.
Okay.
It goes Bitcoin, right? The whole thing. Speculation. That's what
So it's external.
It's all
external.
external.
Lememra, what's going on over here is the savar of Nachman, the Shuma Hadar. See, this is interesting. When the person didn't have the money to pay, so they evaluated the price of his palace, and they took it away, his house, whatever. They took it away, and then when he got the money, or when he found the item, then you take that whole evaluation and you hand it back to him, and then you give it back to the person. So does Nachman say that you give back the items that got evaluated, or the property that got evaluated because the person came up with the money? That was an absolute mistake. The Kahavi keeping Mikar because he had it the whole time. He didn't really need to confiscate the house because he just couldn't find the keeper. The keeper happened to be there. He just didn't know where they were. They were in the drawer. That whatever. It's, in the drawer with his matzah cover. He didn't want to open that drawer the whole year. He only opened it before Pesach. He says, "Oh, there it is." Okay.
Why couldn't they still just put a lien on?
They put the lien on the house, and then they did what the lien accomplishes, which is to take away the house. The lien is the first step of the confiscation. Right? He owed the money. They took the. They took it.
Didn't sell
What is
the
it called? A
house.
drachta?
No, a drachta is the permission to go search for his property. And then there's the achrasta, which is after they find the property, they announce and who wants to buy it. So here they didn't go through all of that. They just evaluated the house, and they took the house and gave it straight to the guy. Yeah. And so in this case, it all returns. Everything goes back.
Doesn't matter who found the pearls. So
I don't know. We're thinking that the pearls were in that house, right?
right, so like the guy who lost it originally.
Not necessarily in that house. Yeah, I don't know if it matters. Yeah. We don't take away a house, so a place of living, because of a debt. We don't take away the primary residence, right? We only take away other.
Florida, like the homestead, like the 6 hours.
Right.
And the investment properties.
I don't think in according to Torah either, we take away those things. Can't take away his own the things that he needs for work and the things that he needs for basic living. I don't think we take that away. Imagine
It doesn't make sense considering that we normally give somebody
Right.
the mashkin, you give back that night or
Right.
that day.
Right, it can't be. So it can't be that this was his primary residence.
It
Okay.
seems to me this is an unusual case because it's not plausible for someone to say, I just lost this. Because we're talking about a small thing that's worth as much as a house.
Right.
I mean, in our terms, let's say it's, $800,000.
Right.
You wouldn't just lose it and say, oh, sorry, I forgot where I put it.
Right.
It feels like there's something else going on here.
That's what's up basic.
And by the way, I'm not sure that a house is protected under
really?
our law. I'm not sure it is. I can look it up today, but I don't think it is.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not.
I thought okay. So Amri Nardai says Shuma Hadar Tracy Archishata, that even if something is confiscated because of the evaluation, they didn't have money, but if the person comes up with the money, you can then retract this whole evaluation and take it back. You have up to 12 months. Amra Meimar says, Anami Nardayana. I come from Nardai. Meimar was a friend of the who did we have before? Meimar or Rameimar? Meimar was a friend of Ravashi and Marzutra. Yeah. This was a student of Rabbi Meir. I don't think
Just
so.
trying to remember.
No, these are 3 friends that they show up. There's Ameimar, Marzutra, and Ravashi. They show up together in different places.
Three guys walked into a car, three sisters, and they were back into
Okay, so Amemar says, I come from Narda, Yusrili Shumahad Aloilam. I hold that if a person comes up with the money, he can always get back what was confiscated because of some death of some sort. The Hilchus, the halacha is Shumahad Aloilam. Mishum Shenema Vasisa Yashavatay says that you should do what's upright and good, and to take away a person's own items because of the death. And then when he comes up with the money, we should allow him to just pay the money and take it back. Yeah, towards the end, Mar Baravashi would probably be the last, but yeah, he's at the end. So who added in the Hilchasa? Pshita. The Gemara says the following is obvious. Whenever it says that, it means that there's a question to follow. The following is obvious, and then after that, we'll get to the questions. But Shamalei Balchayv, let's say they evaluated someone's property to pay up a debt. Now, after the, let's say Shimon had a debt, paid to Reuven. Then the Reuven went, and he paid to the person that he borrowed money from, the same item, the same property. So what happens now? So now Shimon comes up with the money and he wants to go to, who did he pay to Yaakov, let's say. So goes to Yaakov, he says, I want it back. We tell to Yaakov, you came from Reuven, or whoever, you came from Reuven, and you're no stronger than Reuven. If you could have taken it back from Reuven, so he could take it back from you as well. So this is all a second step confiscation, right? Let's say it happened a little differently. Let's say he sold it to, it was confiscated by Reuven. Zavna or Taviyav Matana, and then Reuven went and sold it, or he gave it as a gift on a deathbed, or he gave it as a regular gift. They didn't buy it or take it as a gift because of the value. They took it as a gift because of the thing itself. So therefore, Shimon can't go to them and say, okay, I came up with the money, I want it back, and here's the money, because that sale was already done. So even though we say Shuma Hada Liyolam, but that's not after it changes hands. Not after it changes hands through a sale. Let's say they took a woman was owed money, wealthy woman lent money. The guy doesn't have money to pay her back, so she ends up with a property that was confiscated from this fellow, and now she gets married. Now the husband is now the new owner, sort of, because he's the nichse malug, right? He gets to use it, or it could be iron sheep as well. Or the opposite. The woman owed money, and it was taken from her, and now she's married. Mesa, now she dies. Okay, now the husband says, okay, I have money, I'm going to go get the property back. The husband and his wife's property is like, we don't take away from the husband to give it to the person that the wife confiscated it from. We don't take it out of the husband's hands because he's the new purchaser. And we also don't take it away from the other person that had confiscated from the wife to give it to the husband, because he's not the real, he's not the original owner. He's just a purchaser off her.
But if
comes
back and he's able to take back the debt, then
if the wife is there and the guy could pay back the debt, then yeah, it would go back to the, talking about the wife died, and now the husband wants to take over. So we see he's considered a purchaser. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina taught, he said, Usha Eskino. It was instituted in Usha, which is one of the locations where the Sanhedrin was, one of the 10 locations. I think 2 of the 10 locations was Usha. That if a woman sells her nichse malug while the husband is alive, so usually what happens is the husband's able to use the property and to take the proceeds of the property while they're married, while she owns it, and he's able to use the proceeds. She sold the actual property, so the purchaser doesn't really get the property, it doesn't get to use the property while she's married because the husband still has the rights to that. But let's say the husband would die, then the property would be sold. But in this case, if the husband doesn't die, the woman dies. The husband's still alive. So the husband is considered the first purchaser of the property, and he can go and take it back from the one that the wife sold to, and he can say that I purchased it first. The husband can take it away.
We could sell the property. I thought it's collateral, right?
We're talking about the woman that brought property into a marriage. Now it's sort of like a shared property. She owns it, but he gets the proceeds. The
How
husband
did
gets
she
the
get the property?
She was inherited from her.
Oh, so it wasn't.
She won it in the
that wasn't
lottery.
collateral or anything.
No,
No.
that's another case. Okay, next case is Agbeyi b'chayvai. Let's say, it wasn't evaluated by the Beis Din and the confiscated. What happened was the guy owed money, and instead of going to court, he just said, "Look, just take my property." Now he wants to take it back. He wants to get it back. So pligi bar Ravacha Ravina. That's a machlekes between Ravacha and Ravina. Chada Mahadra. One says that you could retract from that and you could take it back. He says, "Look, I came up with the money. I would like it back." Chada Mar Loi Hadra. One says that no, I can't. He doesn't have to give it back. Manda Mar Loi Hadra. We don't know who says what. The one that says Loi Hadra Savar, he holds Aizvini Malyi. That was a regular sale. Look, sometimes a person needs money, so he sells something that was in his family for a long time, needed the money for whatever, so he sold it. Now he says, "Okay, now I came up with the money. Let me go get it back." He says, "The guy says, I don't know about the cheshbonus, all of this. It was a regular sale." So okay, here, he owed money. Instead of paying the money, he paid him with this item. So now he says, "Okay, now I came up with the money I wanted." He says, "No. That's you gave it to me for this. That was our transaction. That was like a regular sale. You owed me money, and I took this item and as a purchase from that. Right? I let you keep the money, and you gave me this instead. That was like a sale." Manda Mahadra, one that says no, that you can retract. Several loizvini ma'al. That was not a sale. That could have been done in court, where they confiscate a property. Only thing is, I didn't want to go through that whole hassle because of embarrassment. So because I tried to avoid embarrassment, now I can't get my property back when I come up with the money. Yeah, it's an interesting machlekes. Me'im masachal peri. At what point does the new owner of the property start to eat the produce? Now, let's say things started to grow, or there was income that came from it. At what point is it his? So Rabba mechimata drachta liade. Rabba says that it's when the adrachta reaches his hands. Adrachta is the document that says that wherever we find his property, they could be confiscated. That takes 90 days. Abayama, 90 days plus, it has to reach his hand. Abaya says, no, it doesn't have to reach his hand. Once a document is signed, it's already his property. And Rabba Amar that there's actually another 30 days after that. I think it was 30 days that they had to auction off or announce how much to figure out how much the actual property was worth. They found the property, and they want to know what it's worth. So when that's finished, that's when it becomes the new owners.
The buyback thing shouldn't have been discussed at the time of sale.
Yeah.
They could have saved.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably he had no way of imagining even that he would come up with the money, and so he just said, "Okay, this is it. This is, Okay. Seicher Paramechavere. This is interesting Mishnah coming up. Someone rents a cow from his friend. Okay, that sounds typical. And while he's renting it, even though he's paying for it, someone else wants to borrow it. So he lends it to him. He's a nice guy. He's paying for it anyway. Subleasing, but except he's sub-lending because, he's paying for it and he's lending it. Umesa Kedarka, but then it dies naturally. Now, dying naturally is considered a ninus, unpreventable circumstance. So what happens is, Nishba HaSeicha Shemesa Kedarka, the renter just has to swear that it died naturally, and then he would be exempt. He swears he's exempt because he's a borrower. He's not a borrower, he's a renter. A renter is only responsible for Gneva Vavet only if it gets stolen or lost. But here this was considered unpreventable circumstance. But the borrower that borrowed from him, Yishalim L'Seicher, he's going to pay the price because a borrower is more responsible, so he has to pay the money to the renter. And the renter ends up keeping the money. He doesn't have to give it back to the owner because he swore that it died by unpreventable circumstance, and he doesn't have to pay it.
So
The owner ends up without it because he only rented it, and the renter doesn't have to pay. The borrower has to pay to the renter. Yeah, he gets rent money. That's the idea. He gets rent money. Rabbi Yaisi. Rabbi Yaisi says, how could this fellow make money off someone else's cow? The renter is making money off his cow. No, it has to go back to the owner. Okay, let's see.
He's renting it for more than he personally is renting.
He rented it, whatever, and now he lent it to someone else. And now the borrower pays the value to the renter, and the renter, instead of paying to the original owner, says, "I'm exempt from paying." So he ends up keeping the money. The Rabbi Yossi says, "1 second, whose cow was this?"
Why isn't it fair? That's what they were sure wanted to do. Shem's world. No? So I'm saying, why isn't it fair?
Nine.
World to me would seem
No,
that's fair.
not there anyway.
No, to you.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the explanation over here why we're dealing with a seicher as opposed to a regular shomer is because he's allowed to use it. Allowed to use it, so he could lend. He lent it also. Okay, I use it. You use it. I guess that's what's going on. The borrower has to pay. Yeah, the borrower is responsible for everything. It's only the renter that's exempt. The renter swears and he's exempt. The borrower has to pay. The problem is that the borrower is paying to the renter. He's making money off. This is a good business.
Time machine. And you borrow all in your deaf animals.
You quickly lend them out. Yeah.
Rent it.
You can't rent it because if you don't get money back, you have to let them use it. Lend it.
That's right. You have to pay it. You have to pay for it because you're renting it and someone else is borrowing it.
Oh,
That's how you have less of a responsibility than the borrower.
and even the original owner, if he lends it, he gets paid back.
Right.
Field trip.
Ravidi Baravin says to Abaya, Michti, let's see, how did the renter end up with this cow? He got it b'shvua, with an oath, namely maskala seicher. Why doesn't the renter, the owner, tell to the renter, Dalant v'dal shvuasech, I don't need your oath. Don't worry about it. Don't make the oath. It's fine. You just step out of the way. Let me go talk to the borrower. I'll take care of it. I don't need you to take the oath. You don't take the oath, then he'll be able to get the money directly from the borrower. So Abaya says to Ravidi Baravin, says, do you think it's that the reason why he gets the payment is because he took the oath to the owner, where the owner can say it's okay, I don't need the oath, I'm fine without the oath? Is that the whole thing? It's just the oath that's helping him acquire the mishas misu the kani. He really acquired it. Once it died, it already belongs to him because he was exempt. So why is he taking the oath? The oath is just to satisfy the owner that nothing else, there was no foul play here. But really, it was already the borrowers already from then. It was already the renters from then, and the borrower has to pay him.
There's no foul play because he used a cow.
Oh, that's classical. Right out of
Right.
out of
He
young.
didn't rent the chicken.
I know. I understand. Foul. Any young man's calling, he wants a joke back.
They're joking about if it was a foul play because it wasn't a bird, it was a cow.
Dr. Stein.
Okay. Amar Abzera.
Gets inspired with GT.
What's GT?
Grand Turismo. Or no.
Amar Abzera. Abzera says, Pamim, you have to follow this case. You ready? This is a very interesting case. Pamim shabaylam mishalmim kama paras l'seicher. According to what we learned in the Mishnah, it's possible to make the actual owner end up paying several cows to the renter. So here we're talking about the borrower is paying to the renter. But let's say you could set up a case where the owner is going to have to pay, instead of the renter paying back to the owner after it dies, they're going to have the owner pay to the renter. Watch how this works. Says, how does this work? It says, Hey Chidami, what's the case? Probably all of this is happening on the first day. So he rents a cow from him for 100 days. On his way out, the owner then tells him, he says, how much do you really need? He says, well, I only need it for 10 days, but I'm renting 100 days, just in case. He said, do me a favor, let me borrow it back from you for 90 days. So the owner, for some reason, is now borrowing, even though the guy's paying for the rent. The owner's borrowing it back for 90 days. Then the guy says, the guy says, you know what? You borrowed it, but let me rent it again, a second renting. I already rented it, but now I'm renting it now for 80 days. And then the guy borrows it back. He says, no, I really wanted it. I'll borrow it from you for 90 days, for 70 days now. So 100 days, borrows it for 90, rents it for 80, lends it back for 70. And with this guy's luck, it dies during those 70 days. And the borrower, now who's the borrower? The borrower is the owner. So the owner has to pay to the guy. Look, I lent you this cow. You owe me the thing. I'll deal with that afterwards. That I have to, I'll swear that it's okay. Every time he borrows, he has to pay one cow. He borrowed it twice. But besides for that, he also has to give him a cow because he said he rented it. He rented a cow and he didn't provide it. He has still twice 10 days. He has to do the 90-day thing, and he also has to do the 80-day. What does he want? He wants the 80-day. How many times did he rent it from him? He wants from the 90 days he still gets 10 days, and from the 70 days he still gets 10 days. Huh?
What's the relation of Zera?
Reb Zera is a teacher of Reb Yirmiyah.
Sounds like they're hanging out.
Yeah, actually Reb Yirmiyah is coming up.
Doesn't literally mean he gets two cows. He gets one cow and the days extra as an end of the day for work.
Very
and he
good.
gets another cow to follow up for that.
Very good. Very good. Very good. That's what's coming up. That's Ravacha Midifti claim. Yeah. You have to hold it a minute.
There you go.
Get a virtual cookie.
Yeah, no, that's my son.
Shut him, the cookies grew. Bigger now.
Okay.
I ate some yesterday.
What was that? You ate already. Okay. That he has to pay you for a cow for each.
It's like this whole thing is like resurrection.
That's a different problem. That's a different issue. Here it's
Doesn't exist.
Here.
You can't take one cow and make it three.
So 1 second. That's what Amalei Rachmi Difti la Ravina Michti. Ravachmi Difti says to Ravina, 1 second. Chadaparahi, they only have one cow. I leave Afke, it went in and it went out. Afke Meschiris Vaila Shila went out of renting and went to borrowing. Afke Meshila Vaila Schiris. There should really only be one payment. He should have to give him a cow. He's agreeing that he should have to give him one cow. which is interesting. Now the owner has to pay to the renter 1 cow, but not 2 cows. This is what Shalom was saying and Chaim. But he should also have to replace for the renting and Yitzhi, of course. Amalei, so he says in me, if the cow existed, then we can say, okay, I gave you back the cow, and then that's it. That's the 1 cow that went in, that went out. But because the cow doesn't exist, so it would just be like a document, like there was a document that says, you borrowed, now pay back, okay, pay back this document. Okay, now pay back this document. Now pay back this. You don't have 1 cow that could satisfy all of that. You would have to pay each one. Okay, holy cow.
This is like the derivatives market. They're like brought down, they create a crash. It's like you have these, mortgages, and then you like arrange so that if for the mortgage, if somebody can't pay the mortgage, you have to pay them back, and then like the original house becomes like 10 times that.
It's a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi, whatever it is. Also, it's the way it begs free money. I give you $100, you lend out 95 of it, and then he who gets 95 lends out 90 of it. By the end of the time, you have 100,000 created by just this one deposit. That's the way they create money.
And the interesting thing here is that the bank itself is borrowing it back, and ends up owing to the person that well, not borrowed but rented.
Let's say they never pay back. At some point they pay back a little bit, but they're borrowing another to cover that.
Right.
So that's
It's like the same thing as the Bitcoin.
And he's describing a lot of
It's a legal
modern stuff.
Ponzi scheme.
Things are
Mar Baravashi Amar Ein Le'alem Ela Shtei Paris. Oh, I'm sorry. Ravina didn't mention. No, Ravacha didn't mention that there should be 2. He thought that there should only be 1 cow. Mar Baravashi says it should be 2. Ein Le'alem Shtei Paris. Chad D'Shila v'Chad D'Sfiras. It says it should be 1 for borrowing and 1 for the renting, because the guy actually rented it and it wasn't provided. The name of borrowing should go under 1 category. You borrowed it twice, okay, that gets satisfied with 1 cow. The Sheila Kani Lagami. The one that was lent out, that the renter should be able to get. The Schiras Avad Bayimei Schirusim Mahad Leilamari. The renting one, that should be given to him for the 20 days that he was renting it, that was the remaining, that he should be able to use it, because this whole story started because he needed a cow for 20 days, for 100 days, and turned into 20. And then he would give it back after the 20. So he'll end up owning 1 cow out of this, and he'll be able to use a cow for 20 days. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah says, based on what we're talking about, of someone swearing and this, it says, it's possible that we have a borrower and we have a renter, like we had in the Mishnah, and the renter is going to swear, and the borrower maybe also has to swear, at least that it's not in his possession. He has to make some swear. So yes. So if they're both swearing, it's possible that both of them have to bring a carbon chatas if they swear falsely. A carbon chatas is brought if there was no gain of money, just a plain lie, a false oath. An asham is brought if there's a gain of money.
No, for carbon chatas in this case, he does it to make him look good.
Okay, explain.
Instead of it, he has to, for a shayal, instead of saying that it just died, it was stolen or something.
Oh, okay, very good. Very good. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, so yeah, what Shalom is explaining is that why would he swear falsely if he doesn't gain any money?
Right.
He's saying he's just swearing falsely to look good, but there actually is no gain of money. So then he would bring a chatas. The asham is when he gains money. When he's the reason why he's swearing is because he's exempting himself from some sort of payment.
Isn't like a gain that he's trying to look good?
No, it's only with the actual gain of money. Okay, so Rabbi Yirmi gives us 4 cases. Rabbi Yirmi does this also in other places, in Sukkah and the other places where he says, I'll give you the 4 options. Both are this, both are this, or this one is one and this the other one is the other, or the opposite, or the reverse. Yeah, there's 4 possibilities. When we say both of them, we're talking about a shoyel and a seicher, a borrower and a renter. Could be they both bring a chatz, could be they both bring a nashim. It could be that the renter brings the sin offering and the borrower is the guilt offering. Sometimes the renter is the guilt offering and the borrower is the sin offering, exactly the opposite. We have those 4 options. How does this work? Firas mamain, we set up first the rules. Firas mammon is asham. If he's denying money, there's actually a misappropriation of money because of this false oath. Then he has to give an asham. Bitis v'sayim. If it's just a lie, then then he brings a chatas. Chatas is a female offering and a asham is a male offering. I don't remember which one is more expensive. I know the asham tali is more expensive than the chatas. Chatas is young; it's in its first year. I don't remember the age of the asham. Could be it's a bigger animal. Yeah. So the first case, it's possible that both of them have to bring a korban chatas. How? The animal actually died in a way that would exempt even the borrower. It died naturally, which is an inus.
You would be high for that. It died meis mas malacha.
Right. Excellent. Thank you, Shalom. I stand corrected.
Whoa.
Very good. You're getting another cookie. It's coming. Yeah, Yitzi's just gonna stand there with the cookie. He's getting tired. So the shayel is only exempt on Mesa Machmas Malacha. So if it died during work. So here it died with unpreventable circumstances, with the borrower is obligated. And they said that it was an accident. So Seicher, the renter, which is anyways exempt, the benkach miftar pater, yes, bechatas. He didn't. The story that he said that it got stolen by armed robbers or something, and really it had died naturally. So he was exempt anyway, whatever the story is. So he's not gaining anything, and he's not gaining any money by saying that. So he only has to bring a sin offering. But the borrower, he has to pay in either case, whether it's the way he said it, that it died naturally, or if it was actually, armed robbers or something, it would also be an inus. So he's high for that as well. So he has to bring a chatas as well. So they both bring a chatas because neither of them are gaining money. The shayl has to pay anyway, even if he would have said the truth. He has to pay even though he lied. Both of them are gaining money, and they have to bring a asham. Really, it got stolen. They all have to pay for that. Instead, they said it died during work. The Tavayo Kafrim Minor, both of them are denying money. The Hamachayviv, Kapachin of Shayo, they're really obligated to pay, but they're exempting themselves. It could be that the renter is not gaining any money, but the borrower is gaining money, so he has to bring the guilt offering. Talking about that it died naturally. But they said that it died through work, because of the work. The renter is always exempt. He's exempt now, he's exempt even if he would have said the truth. So he's chayiv chatas. He has to bring the sin offering, which is only for a lie. Shayel the mechayiv mesa kedarka, but the borrower, he's actually exempting himself from money. And he's exempting himself by saying that it died during work. So he has to bring an asham, a guilt offering, because that's there was money that was denied in that oath. This is hard to imagine, but we can figure this out. It's possible that the renter is the one that's gaining money, and the borrower is not gaining money. How is that? So usually the borrower the renter would usually be exempt anyway. I was here, so here the case is it was stolen, but instead he says that it died naturally. So that exempts the renter, but it doesn't exempt the borrower. So the borrower is still a chatas. The renter is obligated if it got stolen or lost. So when he says that it died naturally, he is denying money. So therefore he has to bring a guilt offering, a asham. Shayel, but the borrower, the benkach mechayev is a chatas. He's chayev either way, so he has to bring this in offering. My kamashmalan, what's Rabbi Yirmiyah coming to teach me? I mean, basically, he just told me the halachas, but he organized it in a nice way. But what chiddush does he have here? It says lafukim midiravami. This is coming to exclude. Rabbi Yirmiyah is coming to exclude, to negate something that Ravami taught. Damar, he said, "Kol shua shadayana mashpian." I say, "In chayav lam shum shvius pitei." When is there a chatas is only if it wasn't done in court. Rabami holds that if it's done in court, it's always going to be an asham. And Rabbi Yirmiyah says that's not true. Even if it was done in court, it's going to be a chatas if there was no denial of money. Mashmon like Ravami comes to teach us not like Ravami. Okay. If we're almost on the page, but do you want to learn tonight? Let's leave this for tonight. Today is it's Thursday, right? So we can learn at 8:30. We'll try to catch up.
Come on, we just started.
I'm sorry?
We just started.
We just started. Want to keep learning? Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Very nice.
Thank you. Okay, cool. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye, Tati.
Bye, Shalom.